Yo, what is up, guys? It's O-Dog Eastpond here. You can just call me Owen, no worries about it. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, maybe a bit of an experiment, if you may. As you can probably already tell by the title, this video is going to be a 2K19 experiment here. NBA 2K19, we're going to be bringing you, this might be a new series I start. We'll see how it goes. But this is just something I thought would be pretty neat to do. One of my friends did it. A couple weeks ago. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. I wanted to try it out for myself. I figured, hey, why not just get a video out of it? So in the NBA world, I'm a fan of NBA basketball. I don't know if you are, but if you are, it's great. That's probably why you're here, so I'm sure you're a fan of NBA basketball. There are a lot of debates about, historical things, who's the best of all time, stuff you have in every sport. One of the most, in my opinion, one of the most controversial opinions, ones that I really that I don't really agree with, is that Wilt Chamberlain does not deserve to be in the GOAT conversation because he quote unquote wouldn't make it in today's NBA. Now, I don't feel like this is true. I mean, obviously I don't think Wilt would be scoring 100 points ever in today's NBA, but at the same time, I don't think he would be a good player. There's no doubt about it. And I can guarantee you he would be one of the best. He would be in the MVP race every year. So, sure, you can argue that he wouldn't put up 50 rebounds in a game in today's NBA, or 100 points, or 30 free throws, all of his, ungodly numbers. But there's no reason to say that he wouldn't be a good modern NBA player. Take a look here. He's 7'1", 275 pounds. That is by no means skinny. A lot of the arguments are that he was too skinny and that he was only successful because of how much taller he was than his competition. While it's true that he did have a pretty good height advantage over his competition, he was nowhere near a scrawny guy. He's 275 pounds of pure muscle. Wilt Chamberlain was recorded bench pressing over 350 pounds and deadlifting over 500. So this guy didn't skip any days at the gym. He was out there grinding. He was a strong dude. He had been noted to pick up people, his teammates, other NBA players at the time. He could just pick up full-grown adult human beings. You can't do that without being freakishly strong. So, there's no doubt in my mind that Wilt physically would be able to compete in today's NBA. Wilt does have a lack of shooting ability, but that hasn't stopped other people from performing well in the NBA. Right now, some examples you could point out are Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has hardly attempted a jump shot outside of the paint in his career so far. He won Rookie of the Year, and people are talking about him being the next coming of freaking LeBron James. And nothing against Ben Simmons, he's a great player. And that's what I'm saying, you don't have to be able to shoot to be a great player. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Giannis has a pretty decent mid-range jumper if he wants it, but he doesn't shoot. He's not a primary shooter. He'll pull up for a three every once in a while if he's really feeling it, but he's not a shooter. People can be successful in the NBA without being a shot-first kind of person, someone who just rains threes all day like Steph Curry. You don't have to be like that. LeBron James, LeBron has started shooting a lot more threes, and he's always been capable of it. He just doesn't because he knows he doesn't need to be successful. It's not a requirement. So, anyways, that's my rant. I think Wilt would be fine in today's NBA, so we're going to put that to the test today with this video. Wilt Chamberlain is in free agency right now, and I'm playing as the Bulls just because, why not? Felt like just be the Bulls. But I put Wilt Chamberlain in free agency, as you can see here, 98 overall, age 26. This is the Wilt that I took from the official 2K roster. He's on the all-time Warriors. So I put him in. We're going to see how he does here. We'll just simulate through the season. And, I'll see you guys at the end of the season to recap Wilt's stats. Let's see how it goes. Alright, welcome back, you guys. We're at the end of the first season, and, ignore the 23 and 59 record there. The Bulls are not the best team right now. So you can see here, Steph Curry wins the MVP award, DeAndre Ayton Rookie of the Year, Dennis Schroeder 6th Man of the Year with some actually really impressive numbers. Wow. Giannis wins Defensive Player of the Year, and wow, with those stats, I'm surprised he didn't win MVP, to be honest. Well, let's take a look at. Well, I guess Steph was averaging almost 30 points a game. Jordan Clarkson, most improved player, and Steve Kerr wins Coach of the Year as the Warriors went 64-18. No surprise there. So with the first team All-NBAers, let's take a look at what we've got. Steph Curry, who is actually, he twisted his left knee, that's unfortunate. James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic, rounding out the top 5. As far as the second team goes, Russell Westbrook, John Wall, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. And on the third team, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Blake Griffin, Kevin Durant, and Joel Embiid. So what you see here, no Wilt Chamberlain on the All-NBA teams. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats for the season. Oops. So if we go to player stats, Wilt Chamberlain actually, interestingly enough, ended up on the Hornets. So with his first season, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 18 points and 14 rebounds a game, 3 assists and 2.3 blocks. Pretty solid numbers, to be honest. Like I said, I knew he wouldn't be putting up monster numbers quite the way he was back in the day, but I knew he would be a really good, just a really solid center. And I mean, for someone who's 26 years old, who's not really even at their peak yet, I mean, that's pretty decent. 62% from the field is also not a surprise at all. Didn't even attempt a single three-pointer. Again, no surprise there. So, overall, it wasn't amazing, outstanding, monstrous numbers like Wilt Chamberlain put up in his day, but not bad. He definitely hung with the NBA players. I mean, 20 points and 14 rebounds a game is nothing to scoff at. That's pretty good. So, and let's take a look at the Hornets. The Hornets actually ended up as the 2 seed. So the fact that they had Wilt Chamberlain on their team, I mean, the Hornets in real life would never be a 2 seed in the East. Never in 1,000 years. But with the addition of a guy like Wilt Chamberlain, they're the 2 seed. Like, they went 52-30. They wouldn't do that without Wilt Chamberlain. And a lot of people, the way they argue is that the more you win, the better chance the more suited you are to be considered the GOAT. So the fact that Wilt Chamberlain helped them win that many games should, count for something, right? Like, if he wasn't hanging with today's NBA players, they wouldn't have won that many games with him on the roster. He would have just been dead weight. He would have been useless. So let's simulate the playoffs here. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Wilt can lead the Charlotte Hornets to an NBA title. That would be something. The Hornets will face off against the top-seeded Toronto Raptors here, and it's not looking good for them. Down 3-0. They might make a comeback. No, the Raptors beat them 4-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's see how they fare against the Warriors in the NBA Finals. And not very surprisingly, the Golden State Warriors have won the NBA championship. Steph Curry, averaging 31 points a game, gets the Finals MVP award. No surprise there. So, I'll go ahead and skip through the offseason, and we'll start year number 2 for Wilt Chamberlain. I'm going to be doing probably about, let's say 4 years, 5 years maybe, just to see how Wilt pans out. And yeah, I'll catch you at the start of next season. Welcome back, you guys. We're here ready to start season number 2 of Wilt Chamberlain. And just before we start, I wanted to give a little shout out to my boy Brayden. I don't know if you're watching or not, but Brayden actually is the one who had the idea for this series first. He did it himself a couple weeks ago. I mentioned him at the beginning of the video, and he is a huge fan of Ja Morant. So in the offseason, I went ahead and drafted Ja Morant to put him on the Bulls just for him, because he's also a huge Bulls fan. Anyways, let's move on to year number 2 for Wilt Chamberlain and his career on the Charlotte Hornets, oddly enough. This time around, I will... yeah, sorry. Sorry about that, a little bit of a brain fart. Yeah, I will talk to you guys at the end of the season. I'm not going to make you watch this whole simulation because 2K takes forever. Yeah, I'll catch you at the end of the year. Alright guys, welcome back. We are here at the end of season number 2, and this time it's James Harden winning the MVP award, averaging 20, we'll round it up to 29. 29 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals a game. Very impressive from the Beard. Rookie of the Year goes to Zion Williamson. No surprise there. Actually got drafted by the Utah Jazz, huh? Interesting. I'm a big fan of Zion. Do love that man. Dennis Schroeder wins 6th Man of the Year once again. Some pretty impressive numbers off the bench. He's becoming sort of a Lou Williams character here, winning all these 6th Man of the Year awards. Giannis wins Defensive Player of the Year again. Most improved player goes to Eric Bledsoe, who actually averaged pretty solid numbers. And, head coach of the year actually goes to Billy Donovan. Was expecting to see Steve Kerr once again, but no. Billy Donovan. So let's take a look here at the All-NBA first teamers. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic once again. Top 5 not looking incredibly different from last year. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why I did that. All-NBA second team here. We see Steph Curry, John Wall, LeBron James. Actually, really weird to see him on the second team. Paul George and Boogie Cousins. And the third team, there you see Wilt Chamberlain, who actually ended up, I guess he was released in the offseason and ended up on the Mavericks. So Wilt Chamberlain, his first season on the Mavericks, has made the All-NBA third team. Let's take a look at his numbers here. This season he averaged about, we'll round that up to 20. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So 20 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and almost 3 blocks a game. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, 3 blocks a game, come on. Shot 63% from the field. Again, didn't attempt the three-pointer. Not shooting fantastic from the free throw line, however, not awful. But yeah, overall, really solid season from him. He appears to definitely be improving. Hopefully he will continue to improve, and we will see him possibly win an MVP in this series. But yeah, so that's Wilt Chamberlain for the year. Take a look at the playoff picture. Dallas with Wilt Chamberlain only managed to scrape in as an 8 seed, but then again, when you think about who they have on their roster, it's not a lot. In fact, if we go and take a look at the roster for the Dallas Mavericks, let's see here. For the Mavericks, I mean, with Luka Doncic injured, I mean, they didn't really have much of a chance to do anything. Dennis Smith and Harrison Barnes are both solid players. Dennis Smith obviously has a really high ceiling. We'll see if he ends up panning out or not. But for the most part, not a fantastic roster. This is basically, you would expect them to be, 9th, 10th place in the conference with Luka being healthy all year. Without him being healthy, you wouldn't expect much, but thanks to Wilt, they did manage to get back into the playoffs. So let's go ahead and simulate. Let's see what happens. The Utah Jazz, actually the number 1 seed. Actually, hold on. Let me take a look at the Utah Jazz roster. Wow. Holy cannoli. Let's take a look here. Kyrie Irving. What? Man, the Utah Jazz made a splash in free agency, didn't they? Plus Zion Williamson coming out of the college as an 85 overall at the end of his rookie year. Wow, holy cow, what a turnaround for the Utah Jazz. Now that's something right there. I mean, Wilt's an impressive player, but that is beyond Wilt right there. And as you see here, the Mavericks are going to fall in the first round, unfortunately. Still no ring for Wilt. Let's see if the Jazz, though, can pull ahead and win this one all. I do enjoy watching the Jazz succeed. I feel like they're a team that gets overlooked a lot. Ooh, the Lakers, the 2-seed Lakers, interesting. I guess despite LeBron only being second team All-NBA material, they still managed to win a lot of games. And when you look at that, ladies and gentlemen, the Utah Jazz have done it. Zion Williamson wins Finals MVP, averaging 17 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal and a block per game, shooting 51% from the field. Man, what a year for the Jazz. And another solid year for Wilt. Let's see if he continues to improve in the next season. I'll see you guys at the beginning of next year. Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be year number 3 of Wilt Chamberlain here, and actually the Bulls have a matchup against the Mavericks here coming up, speaking of Wilt. Anyways, this will be year number 3 of the Wilt Chamberlain experiment here. So far in his 2 years, he's averaging, I'll just put him up on the screen for you here. Let me go find. So far in the 2 years of this experiment, he has averaged 19 points and 18 points. We'll just average that out to 19 points flat. About 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 to 3 blocks a year. Or a game, rather. Not a year, of course. So yeah, an all-around pretty solid performances from him so far. Not dominating like he did back in his day, but still really, really solid. And you got to imagine he's only going to get better. I mean, he's 27 years old right now in the simulation. By the end of this year, I mean, I'm sure his numbers are only going to go up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him average 20 and 15 this season. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the end of the season, and I will see you guys there. Alright, welcome back you guys. We're at the end of season number 3 of the Wilt Chamberlain experiment here, and as you can see, Kevin Durant had an absolutely monster season, shooting 54% from the field, 45% from three-point range, averaged 31 points per game. Oh my goodness, what a season from Kevin Durant. I'm not really a huge fan of the guy, but wow, you gotta recognize a season like that. That is something else. Rookie of the Year goes to Mike Cannon. I just auto-generated rookies. I didn't think it really mattered for the series. And for the third year in a row, Lou Williams Jr., a.k.a. Dennis Schroeder, has won the Sixth Man of the Year. I can't help but be impressed by this guy. He's on the bench behind Russell Westbrook, and he is not letting it get him down. He is just grinding out there in Oklahoma City. Anthony Davis this time around wins the NBA Player of the Year, dethroning Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Most Improved Player goes to Michael Porter Jr., who had a solid year. And, Coach of the Year goes to Quinn Snyder, of course, of the Utah Jazz, who finishes the #1 seed in the West for the second year in a row. All NBA first teamers here. We got James Harden, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic, who I think is the only one on this list that has been all NBA first team for all 3 years of this experiment. I don't know why it skips like that. All NBA second team, here we go. We've got Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson, and DeMarcus Cousins. Not really any surprises there. All NBA third team, once again, we see Wilt Chamberlain hanging out on the All-NBA third team along with Ben Simmons, Damian Lillard, LeBron James, Kristaps Porzingis. So let's take a look at what Wilt's numbers looked like this season. Not exactly the improvement I was hoping to see from him. Actually, it almost went down a little bit. And I mean, he definitely went down in his rebounds. Points per game about the same. He averaged actually a full rebound less than he did last year. His assist numbers went up a little bit. His block numbers went up too. So I guess that's a plus. And his field goal shooting continues to rise. Actually shot 50% from three-point range. I'm gonna guess he went 1 for 2 this season. That's something I did not expect to see, but good for Wilt expanding his game. Let's see what the playoff picture looks like. It actually looks like the Mavericks missed the playoffs with Wilt Chamberlain, so let's go ahead and see. Actually, you know what? Since the Mavericks missed the playoffs, I'll just go ahead and skip the playoffs. I'll catch you guys at the beginning of next season. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are now at the start of season number 4 of the Wilt Chamberlain experiment. As you saw last year, Wilt's numbers went down a little bit in some places, but went up in others, so I guess you can go ahead and say just another average year for Wilt in the NBA. Did lead the NBA in blocks for, I think, the 3rd straight year. I think he's led the league in blocks all 3 of these years so far. And I know he led the league in rebounds last year. I'm not sure about the first year, he led the league in rebounds the second year. Not sure about last year or the year before that. But yeah, so good numbers from Wilt. Not outstanding, not amazing, not incredible, but good numbers from Wilt Chamberlain. He's definitely not, incapable of hanging with today's NBA. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into season number 4. I'll catch you guys at the end of the year. And welcome back. Here we are at the end of season number 4, and if you take a look here, it is Zion Williamson taking home the MVP honors this season. 22, I guess you can round that to 23 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks a game. Outstanding numbers from the young man. I can't really say I'm surprised, honestly. I mean, he's an incredible young athlete. Surely, I mean, his potential is through the roof. Can't wait to see him in the NBA in real life. And if you take a look in the bottom right corner there, you will see a record of 45-37. That's right, the Bulls have made the turnaround, finished above 500, finally, without me doing a single thing, just simulating every game. Rookie of the Year, no, it doesn't really matter because they're auto-generated. Dennis Schroeder, 4 years in a row, another one for my boy Dennis Schroeder, wins Sixth Man of the Year. Anthony Davis, back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year award honors, 1 steal and 2.3 blocks per game, pretty solid numbers. Bull for the Atlanta Hawks wins the Most Improved Player. That's a name I haven't seen in a while. 15 points, 8 rebounds, not too shabby from the young man. And Coach of the Year once again goes to Quinn Snyder. Kudos to Quinn Snyder and his Utah Jazz team. So let's take a look here at the All-NBA first teamers and look at what we've got here. Wilt Chamberlain has made the All-NBA first team with stat lines that are honestly not too different from what we've seen in the past. Honestly, his scoring has not really changed at all, but his rebounds shooting up a full 2 per game this season, as well as his blocks going up a full half block a game. So Wilt definitely showed some improvement this year, definitely earned that All-NBA first team spot, and has definitely shown that he can, in fact, hang with today's NBA. Let's take a look here at what the playoffs are looking like. The Wilt Chamberlain's Mavericks did make the playoffs with a 6th seed. They will be facing the Golden State Warriors in the first round. Let's see if Wilt can get a ring here in year number 4 of the Wilt Chamberlain experience. Or experiment, rather. And I just realized that since the Bulls made the playoffs, I have to hit simulate playoffs manually, as opposed to just hitting start like I usually do. And if you take a look here in the first round, Wilt Chamberlain's Mavericks sweep the Golden State Warriors in round number 1, and the Bulls have been eliminated. No surprise there. Let's take a look here in the second round. The Mavericks leading the Nuggets here 3-1. Oh, let's see. And the Dallas Mavericks are going to go on to the Western Conference Finals. Can they pull off the upset? They're going to get swept by the unbeatable Utah Jazz. Holy cow, this would be the Jazz's 3rd straight NBA title if they could pull it off. And they do. That's 3 straight titles for the Jazz since they drafted Zion Williamson. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to turn a team around and win 3 straight championships, just sign Kyrie Irving in the offseason and draft Zion Williamson. It's as simple as that. So Zion, after winning regular season MVP, wins finals MVP as well, leading his team to a 3rd consecutive NBA title. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think 4 seasons and an All-NBA first team selection is a pretty good place to call it for this video. I think it's safe to say that while Wilt Chamberlain didn't blow us away with his huge numbers, it's safe to say that he definitely hung in there with the best of them. And just look at these numbers in the playoffs: 21 points, 16 rebounds, almost 4 blocks a game, and he shot 100% from 3-point range. Like, come on. I mean, the guy can clearly hang with today's NBA, and I think that given some circumstances where maybe if I had control of the team and, I made him the first scoring option, which I'm sure if you had a guy as talented as this, you would want to get him the ball as much as possible and utilize him to the maximum of his potential, that his numbers would have been up a little bit. I didn't mess with the coach settings at all. This is 100% just simulated. I didn't even pick out where he went as far as team-wise. I just went with whatever happened. And as you can see here over these 4 years, pretty solid numbers. I mean, he was definitely one of the best, if not the best center in the NBA for these years. I think it's safe to say that Wilt Chamberlain could easily hang with today's NBA. And while he might not be MVP material, he might not be, quote-unquote greatest of all time material in this simulation, this just shows that, clearly he can hang. So if I might have gone in and edited with, mess with the coach settings, said give Wilt the ball more often, give Wilt more minutes, stuff like that, I think it's safe to say he would have put up some pretty monster numbers. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about modern day Wilt Chamberlain, how he would fare in today's NBA. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you next time. We'll see if I come up with another cool experiment to try out. Anyways, it's been Owen. I'm out.